They said I wasn't supposed to survive. Maybe they were right. But the Arctic never asked for permission, and neither did I. My name is Ada Blackjack. I was born in 1898 in a small Inuit village in western Alaska. My mother taught me to sew sealskin and read the wind. My father died when I was young, prompting my sister and me to be sent to a Methodist mission school. I learned English, to sew, and the warmth of God's love. The world has been cold ever since. An abusive husband, the loss of 2 children. I wasn't a particularly strong woman. I wasn't trained to survive blizzards or stalk polar bears. I was just a mother, a seamstress, a woman with hands worn from cleaning and holding my sick son. But when they asked me to join the expedition to Wrangel Island in 1921, I said yes, not for glory, for survival, because my little boy was sick, and I had nothing left to give him. They needed someone to cook, and so I needed money for my son. I said goodbye to him with trembling lips and boarded the ship. They said it was a scientific mission, but it was more like a gamble. We set out with 5, for white men and me. They were explorers, nationalists, dreamers. They wanted to claim Wrangel Island for Canada. The leader, Alan Crawford, barely in his 20s, believed we could survive with what little gear we had. The real leader, Vilhjalmur Stephenson, never came with us. He sent us off with promises, with ambition, but no backup. There were no adequate supplies, no survival plan, no Inuit hunters, just pride and frost. We had 1 rifle, few tools, limited food. We hunted when we could, trapped when we got lucky. Wrangel was supposed to be a short stop, 1 winter, maybe 2. But the sea had other plans. The sea ice closed us off, cutting our lifeline to the world. The ice thickened. The game vanished. The food ran dry. We starved. We prayed. We waited. In January 1923, Crawford, Moore, and Gall left to seek help in Siberia. They took the best of what we had: dogs, gear, and the last hope of rescue. I watched them disappear into the white. They never came back. No one ever found them. Knight and I waited. Lorne Knight was once strong, a brave man. But scurvy was harsh. His joints swelled. His teeth loosened. His mind frayed. I became his nurse, his cook, his only voice in a world gone quiet. In delusion, he accused me of starving him. I ignored the sting. I read him the Bible instead. When he cried out in fever, I prayed out loud, not because I was strong, but because I refused to let death be the only sound. Days turned into months. His condition worsened. I did what I could, but scurvy was cruel. He faded. And then I was alone. Just me now. Just Ada. And Victoria. That wonderful, sheepish cat that snuggled in my lap since we began this journey, sharing some much-needed warmth. For weeks I hunted birds and foxes with traps. Taught myself to shoot. I fought off frostbite, polar bears. I stitched my parka from reindeer skins and carved out warmth where there was none. I etched the days and my thoughts in my diary. I boiled seal bones for broth. I repaired the tent with trembling fingers. Some days I screamed into the wind. Other days I couldn't speak at all. I thought of my son. What would he think, years from now, knowing his mother stood toe-to-toe with the Arctic? Would he believe me? Would anyone? The white world around me was silent, endless, and absolute. But inside me, something pulsed. Not defiance. Not even courage. Just life. A stubborn, clinging thread of it. And I held it tight. 24 months. That's how long I lasted on Wrangel Island. When the rescue ship arrived in August 1923, they didn't find a victim. They found a woman standing upright. Thin, yes. Shaken, but alive. I didn't cry when they pulled me aboard. I just whispered, "Thank you," and clutched Vic and the Bible that kept me company through the dark. Ada Blackjack was the only survivor of the ill-fated Wrangel Island expedition of 1921. An Inuit seamstress and mother with no training in polar exploration, She endured starvation, isolation, and bitter grief. She didn't seek fame or fortune. She sought a way to care for her son. Her story was nearly erased, overshadowed by the men who died and the headlines that forgot her name. But now we remember her, not as a side note, but as the hero she always was. Would you have survived? Ada did, because survival sometimes doesn't roar. It whispers and keeps walking anyway, sometimes in the arms of God. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when our next inspiring story is released.